Thanks for joining us. It's Lauren D. Did you guys know that according to the National Fire Protection Association, the NFPA, every American household will have a fire every 10 years, but farms are 3 times more likely to have a devastating fire? On a farm, a fire tragedy can cost an average of over $100,000, harm lives, and ultimately jeopardize your livelihood. That's why it's so important to have extinguishers strategically placed throughout your operation to protect what matters most. Many people often wonder, how many extinguishers do I need? What's recommended? Well, years ago, a fire marshal recommended to our CEO, Alan Cronebush, to be prepared for fire emergencies by mounting extinguishers in an easily accessible location, so that way you're never further away than your extinguisher than 6 seconds. It's also really important to have extinguishers strategically placed because a fire actually doubles in size about every 10 seconds and will grow out of control on average in 30 to 60 seconds. On top of that, an average rural response time can be over 30 minutes. That may be time you do not have. Yep. That's why we recommend you have an extinguisher in your home, including your kitchen, because 2/3 of home fires will actually start there. And you also need one in your bedroom, as most deadly fires occur at night when you're sleeping. And you also want one by all heating and clothes drying appliances. As an additional rule of thumb, you need extinguishers in all of your outbuildings, in each entry point and above the light switch. Lastly, you want it on all machinery and equipment that you like. Just the stuff that you like. With proper prevention and preparation, a fire can be a minor inconvenience instead of a devastating loss of property and life. Learn more about some places we recommend you have an extinguisher, such as rodents and small animals love to build nests and chew on wiring in places like barns. Damaged wiring can become faulty and then emit a spark, and unfortunately, one spark is all it takes to quickly ignite materials often found in barns, like nests, bedding, cobwebs, or dust. To prevent and minimize damage to your barn, regularly inspect areas where wiring is placed and use safe rodent control practices. Make sure to be mindful of how you manage these pests if you have children and pets, as some practices could cause injury or sickness. For added protection, be sure to install smoke detectors and fire alarms to help alert you of a fire. If you already have these installed, make sure to check that they are in working condition and that the batteries are not dead. Next, make sure to place STOP-FYRE in all doorways right above the light switch, as you can see here. This is a really easy place to access in the event of an emergency. Storage areas for hay and grain are prone to fire and spontaneous combustion. To help prevent this from happening, make sure that they are properly dried before placing them in your barn or other storage areas. Avoid storing too wet and monitor regularly for any warm spots. If you notice the temperature is getting warmer, then when you put it in, keep a close eye on it. If the hay temperature reaches 175 degrees Fahrenheit, remove it and divide into small, shallow stacks so it can cool. However, if there's any vapor or smoke coming out of it, make sure to call your local fire department immediately and do not move the hay or grain. The movement further exposes it to oxygen, which can accelerate the fire. And as you may already know, fire in these areas can happen very quickly from friction, sparks, and internal heat, which is why we recommend avoid storing hay and grain in buildings with livestock, machinery, and other combustible materials. You should always keep at least one STOP-FYRE extinguisher next to your dryer and storage areas, as you never know when a fire could happen. Defects in the fuel or ignition systems, improper refueling, smoking in matches, overheated engines, and sparks from exhaust and friction are common causes of machinery and vehicle fires. Properly cleaning, servicing, and storing machinery in a safe location can help prevent and minimize fire and its damages. But be prepared for fire by placing STOP-FYRE extinguishers on all machinery and inside your vehicles. For added peace of mind, you could also install a STOP-FYRE automatic system, which will detect a fire for you and automatically put it out. Farms often contain numerous flammable liquids and gases such as gasoline, diesel fuel, LP gas, degreasing solvents, and various types of paints. All of these flammables need to be labeled in safety containers and stored in an approved flammable liquid safety cabinet. Always keep an extinguisher like STOP-FYRE in an easily accessible location outside of and near the cabinet, as fire and spontaneous combustion is a great risk with these types of materials. Improper storage often aids in the start and spread of these types of fires. All it takes is one spark for things to get quickly out of control. But with proper storage and the use of STOP-FYRE, you can avoid a devastating fire of this type. Fires when fueling typically occur due to a hot engine, overfilling, and spilling. Make sure you are always refueling outdoors, never in an enclosed area. Always turn the engine off, and if hot, allow it to cool for a few minutes. To help prevent overfilling and spilling, try using a funnel. However, if any fuel is spilled, allow it to evaporate before starting the engine again. In addition to these measures, we recommend you keep an exterior STOP-FYRE extinguisher near your fueling area and, as mentioned earlier, on all machinery and vehicles. In many workshops, hot work is done. Hot work includes any work activity with the potential to produce ignition sources or excess heat, such as burning, brazing, grinding, or soldering. These activities can produce sparks, which can be scattered more than 35 feet during welding, cutting, or grinding. Often these sparks reach temperatures of over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which easily ignite materials such as paper, wood, flammable liquids, vapors, and many other combustibles when in contact. That is why it's important to keep your work area as clean and clear as possible within that 35-foot radius of sparks. But we understand that that can be kind of difficult and a little unrealistic. So we encourage you guys to do your best and at least keep flammables away from the work area and protect materials with welding curtains or blankets. In addition to this protection, you also need an extinguisher in all doorways in your work area. In the doorways, we recommend placing it right above the light switch for ease of access. Livestock buildings on fire can be very serious and risky, especially when it comes to evacuation. Keep in mind, if fire or smoke is significant within the building, danger is generally too great to risk your own life. Some considerations include smoke, fire, burning insulation, and toxic fumes. Some types of insulation actually consume oxygen, giving off a poisonous smoke or rain fire, meaning they may melt and drip as they burn. Be aware of the type of insulation in your buildings and anticipate how it might react in the event of a fire. To help prevent and minimize these dangerous types of fires, it's really important to equip your building with smoke detectors and fire alarms to help alert you of a fire. If you already have these installed, it's also important to make sure that they are in working condition and that the batteries are not dead. Next, make sure to place STOP-FYRE in all doorways right above the light switch so they are easy to access in the event of an emergency. If you can safely evacuate animals, remember some may refuse to leave the building. Cows and horses tend to panic when they're frightened or forced to use a secondary exit. In some cases, evacuated animals may even run back into a burning building. Some farmers, though, have had luck throwing a gunny sack over their heads and leading them out safely. But it's also important to make sure that you don't become trapped. So when leading them out, make sure you're not going towards a dead end and that you have a gate that will open. It's also important to be realistic. If you can't safely evacuate your animals, you don't want to become the next victim. Farm buildings are susceptible to fires, including your machine shed. Machinery can catch fire from the buildup of dry materials, animal nests, or malfunction. Properly maintaining, servicing, and storing your machinery is essential to prevent fire. When storing your machinery, make sure the building is equipped with all necessary materials to keep everything safe from a devastating fire. Place STOP-FYRE in all doorways above the light switch and in areas when working on equipment. In addition to these extinguishers, make sure to have smoke detectors and fire alarms installed to minimize and prevent fire tragedy. Your machinery is essential to your operation and your livelihood. A loss of equipment could have serious consequences. So it's important to not get burned and get prepared to stop fire. You never know when a fire could happen. We hope that you prepare your operation for a fire emergency by strategically placing STOP-FYRE in all the areas that you need it. We choose STOP-FYRE for our farm because using a clean agent extinguisher has advantages over other extinguishers. They're clean and leave no mess. They require no monthly or yearly service because the agent does not settle. And the best part, they work on all classes of fire, A, B, C. They're non-corrosive, multi-shot, and they're not harmful to people or livestock. Protect your operation and what you've worked so hard for. A fire can destroy so much in just a matter of minutes, and help could be far away. That may be time that you do not have. If you're not sure where to start or would like help determining how many extinguishers you need for your operation, give us a call today at 800-586-1639. We would be more than glad to help you. We have fire safety experts located throughout the United States to help you with all your fire safety needs.
Thank you.